Good morning. It's so lovely to see everyone this morning. 안녕하세요. So what a lovely, beautiful morning it is. And have you seen the field of endless sunflowers on 217? Have you seen them? Oh, it's quite something. So I watched these sunflowers I have to pass by them to come here. So I watched these sunflowers little by little bloom a little, and then they're bigger and bigger and bigger till there were sunflowers, endless sunflowers as far as the eye could see. And then I watched also the cars little by little increase, and everyone lining up to see the field of sunflowers. Everyone's in awe of this beautiful, beautiful sight. But now, as their heads are getting heavy, there's less and less cars showing up. They're not as beautiful as they were, weeks ago. So thinking about that and everyone in this room, and we may be in a state of endless sunflowers in our mind, or maybe we feel a little heavy and a little low in our minds, and that fluctuates. But we come here to practice so we can remain in that state of awe, whether the sunflowers are blooming or whether they're heavy and dying. So as we practice today, let us stay in that state of awe as we have our moving meditation practice, our bowing practice, sitting, chanting, and listening to a Dharma talk by Reverend Ginger. So to begin our practice today, let us welcome Remy, who will guide us in moving meditation. So we can please rise.
Good morning. Let's begin by separating the feet about hips width distance. And we'll take a reach up and take a big yawn. And let this be free form and reaching through both sides. And stretching all the way into the back of your throat and through your palate. And letting that go. And we'll take a yawn on one side, through one side of the palate all the way through your ear, reaching through one arm, stretching through your side body on one side, and letting your head hang. And then releasing that. We'll take the other side, reaching, yawning, all the way from the soft palate into the ear. And then softening the body and hanging off the fingertips, relaxing the neck, and letting that go. You can take a little shake to move things through. We'll shift the weight to the 4 feet and start finding a little pulse through your heel. And we can build a little bit of force here into the ground, letting the rhythm of your feet into the ground resonate through the tissues of your body, creating a vibration that travels through the soft tissue of the lower leg, through the knee, through the hips, and all the way through your spine, the soft tissue of your back, the water of your lungs, throat, and the top of the head, like you're flicking with your hands, trying to get water off your body. Here we are. And then distilling that down. And taking a moment to breathe to sense into the after effect. A little warmth and vibration. And seeing if you can allow the warmth, the vibration, to start to soften your joints, softening the ankles, the knees, the hips, the vertebrae, allowing the waters of your body to flow. Find little gravitational and fluid shifts. And you can start to find a rocking of your body weight over the length of your feet, rocking back and forward, spreading your toes and relaxing them so that they don't grip the ground as your weight shifts forward. Allowing the angles of your joints to change as your body mass moves. Allowing your body to internally communicate, to shift shape and form. And as you rock forward and back, softening your body, see if you can locate the domes of the arches of your feet as an absence of pressure into the ground, a sense of space there. And then take a rock side to side to continue locating the circle that is the base of the dome of the arches of your feet. Using this shifting of your weight to feel the dimension of the arch of your foot. And then shifting your weight around in a circle. Making contact with the base of the dome of the arch of your feet. Letting your knees be soft, letting the weight of your pelvis rock, your spine soften. Changing directions. And then continuing the circle in this direction will slowly shrink the size of the circle and let the head start to find a bit of levity floating up toward the ceiling, opposing the sinking of your body into the ground through your feet. Mass sinking down through the domes of the arches of your feet while the head floats up. And let that take you into something like stillness. Head floating up, pelvis sinking down, supported by the receiving domes on the base. And then keeping the feet connected to the ground, we'll find a little bounce here. Let your feet magnetize to the ground and pull the whole earth up toward your pelvis. Softening your pelvis, softening your spine, and allowing a forward and back rippling wave to travel through your body here. So if you had a paintbrush on top of your head, it would squiggle on the ceiling. Just from this pulse into the ground, of the ground. Unlocking the pelvis, letting it dangle off your lowest vertebra. And maybe it can find a little forward and back wag here so that your belly button travels forward and back through space. So that the arch of your low back has a little spring to it. Your upper back has a gentle spring through its roundness. The arch of your neck. And we'll let that go. And then we'll send the pelvis, we'll allow the pelvis to fall a little bit behind you. So it's like you're coming into a seat, but maintaining the arch of your low back. Letting your heart and your head sink a little bit in front of you toward the ground. And then pressing through the domes of the arches of your feet with an exhale to bring your pelvis up and forward into a stand, resting your mass through the vertical structure of your body. Sink into your hinge. Knees open a little bit away from your midline and then press to peel up. And as we repeat this at your own pace, sinking, start to see if you can allow your head and your heart to soften more toward the ground so that the pressure of your pelvis up creates the peeling to upright. Sinking, softening, allowing the head and the heart to cascade down and then to spill up so that somehow this pressure upward through your feet to the vertical, the standing becomes the most restful part, the effort through the legs, and then the rest into the structure of your body. Nice. And then we'll separate the feet a little bit wider, hips width distance. And we'll sink here a little bit, letting the pelvis be heavy, and shift that weight side to side. Noticing what you feel as your mass comes into one foot, the dome of the arch of one foot, and then the other. And we'll let the arms hang heavy, like ropes. They can have a little swing to them. And we'll start allowing the pressure into one foot to create a twisting that brings your lower belly or your pubic bone toward your thigh. So the foot is a sort of button that initiates the twisting of your heart, side to side, pressing into the outer crescent of your footprints. And you might start to allow your arms, long and soft, to make contact with your body. Building a little breath here. And maybe just drawing with the slightest tug the hands toward your body to make a little contact here on your pelvis. Heart twisting side to side. The pulse of energy down into the dome of the arch of one foot, converting into this twist. And then letting that distill down. We'll continue with a little twist here where the belly button and the heart shine in different directions. Noticing that your pelvis, your torso, these two masses don't have to be locked together. And then letting that go gently, slowly. We'll separate the feet a little bit wider. And again, shift weight from foot to foot. And then come to center and take a little pulse to find the unlocking, the fluid nature of your spine here, expressing all the way through your neck to the top of your head. Keeping the pelvis in the center will allow a little cascade of the spine side to side, allowing your arms to hang in front of your body. So this wave travels from the base of the pelvis all the way to the top of your head. Your effort comes through the dome of the arch of one foot into the next, knees pressing away from midline, letting this wave move the breath, sitting back behind you, maintaining the arch of your low back. And then we'll come over the right side. So bring your mass over your right side and take a little bounce here. Feel the strength of your right glute. Press your knee away from your midline in this bounce, gathering heat on this side. Feel the crescent shape of your footprint. Allow your heart and your ear to listen toward the ground. Let your heart have a little spring off the floor. And take some breath. As deep or as shallow as you like. It's a bit like you're trying to get some water out of your ear. And when you're ready to clear this effort, you can travel back into the cascade side to side. Breathing, allowing the wave to travel through your soft tissues. We'll come over to the left and root in here with a little bounce. Heart and ear listening to your support. Pulse into the dome of the arch of the foot. Effort in the left glute, the left thigh. Knee pressing away from midline. Masses resting into the crescent shape of your footprint. Gather a little heat here if you like. Let the breath travel. Get some water out of your ear. A little softness through the neck. Arms heavy. And then shift back into your cascade, side to side. You can use this movement to slowly step your feet a little closer together and find your way back up to vertical. Let's take an inhale and an exhale. And then another inhale where we'll draw the shoulders up toward our ears and drop. 2 more. Inhale. 1 more. Nice. Find a gentle sway side to side. Arms hang in front. We'll start to hinge forward toward a forward fold with the sway. Let your spine snake-like cascade side to side. Find your way down into your forward fold. Knees can be bent or straight. And give your head a little shake here to decompress your spine. Let the fluid flow between your cervical vertebrae. Maybe give your collarbones a little shake here. Let the spinal fluid move between the vertebrae behind your heart. And then we'll start shifting weight over to the right. Let's take the right hand to the the left foot or left shin and twist to the left, fingertips up toward the ceiling. Take a look up toward your fingertips and a nice deep breath. And then pour the water from the top of your head. Allow the top of your head to sink. Fingertips to continue reaching up toward the ceiling. 1 more breath here. And then let the arms sink and cycle to your other side. Left hand to the right foot or shin. Right arm reaches up as you twist. Breathing into the twist. As you look up to the hand. And then pouring from the top of your head, letting the neck soften. 1 more breath here in this twist. Slowly cycling to center. We'll take our weight shift side to side, finding this little cascade again. Soft, snaky spine. Let the arms hang. Start to sit your tail behind you and see if you can find a figure 8 movement from your heart that moves and paints your arms in a figure 8 shape. We're going to slowly paint it up the wall in front of you as you slowly peel your way up towards standing. Let this movement change the shape of your rib cage. Move your breath and take it all the way up toward the ceiling. Side to side cascade. Weight arriving in your feet. And then a nice deep inhale here, reaching up. And release down. Give that a little shake. Let's just take another shrug and breath. And 1 more. And that's where we'll finish. Thank you.
You can remain standing. Please bring your palms in front of your chest. We will bow to our Ilwansong Dharmakaya Buddha. So bowing to the fourfold grace. We bow in gratitude to the grace of heaven and earth, honoring the infinite beneficence of nature and the universe. We bow in gratitude to the grace of parents, honoring the beneficence from parents, ancestors, and all those who have had a nurturing role in our lives. We bow in gratitude to the grace of fellow beings, honoring the truth of interconnectedness. And we bow in gratitude to the grace of laws, those that guide us, protect us, and promote justice. Now please take a moment to welcome and say hello with your beautiful smiles and your bows to your neighbor Buddhas. Take a take a moment to adjust your body to prepare for sitting meditation practice. And Pete will guide us further in the method of seated meditation.
The method of sitting meditation is simple and easy. Sit comfortably on the floor or in a chair. Breathe in, grab all your attention, and breathe it out. Open up your chest and heart, stretch up tall, and align your spine from your neck to your tailbone. Relax your shoulders and arms, then allow your hands to rest on your knees. Bring your attention to your breath. As you exhale, release all mental and physical tension. Invite your attention to abide in your chi energy field, which is called Danjan. This is located about 2 inches below your navel and is the power center for your breathing. Open your eyes and gaze downward over the end of your nose and to the floor. Keep your mouth closed and allow the tip of your tongue to rest gently against the roof of your mouth. When your mind is concentrated and calm, pure and clear saliva may gather in the mouth. You may swallow it. Relax your facial muscles and notice your gentle smile. If your face or body begins to itch, do not scratch. This is just a sign of the energy circulating in your body. Simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly so that you maintain a calm stillness and do not interrupt others. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be discouraged or disturbed by them. Simply focus on your breathing without reacting to or playing with those thoughts. Recognize them as thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. And remember, keep bringing your awareness back to your Danjan breathing center. If you continue practicing meditation for a long period of time, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation, in which the mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused, and at peace, with no distinction between self and others, time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, aware of our ever calm and alert spirit.
Now our meditation practice continues with chanting the Ilwan Song Vow and the Heart Sutra. Please open up your booklets to pages 4 and 5.
One song vow. One is the realm of somebody beyond words and speech, the gateway of birth and death, transcending being and non-being, origin of heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings, and laws, the true nature of all Buddhas, enlightened masters, unenlightened people, and sentient beings. One manifests as both permanence and impermanence, viewed as permanence, till one unfolds into an infinite world that is ever abiding, spontaneous, just as it is, as impermanence, till one unfolds into infinite worlds through the cycle of formation, duration, decay, and extinction of the universe, and the birth, aging, illness, and death of all beings, according to how we use our minds and bodies. In the four forms of birth we transform through the 6 realms of existence, progressing or regressing, with grace arising from harm or harm from grace. For we unawakened beings vow to practice wholeheartedly, modeling ourselves after Ilwan Song of Dharma Kaya Buddha, by cultivating our minds and bodies deeply in human affairs and universal principles thoroughly, using our minds and bodies skillfully, thus progressing rather than regressing, and receiving grace rather than harm, until we attain the great empowerment of Ilwan and become one with the nature of Ilwan. Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, when deeply practicing Prajnaparamita, realized that all 5 aggregates are empty, and thus became free from all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is true of sensations, perceptions, pulses, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Emptiness, no form, no sensations, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind, consciousness, no attainment with nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva relies on prajna paramita, and for the mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Free from delusion, one dwells in nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future rely on prajna paramita and attain supreme enlightenment. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, is the great enlightening mantra, is the unsurpassed and unequaled mantra, which is able to eliminate all suffering. This is true enough. Also proclaim the prajna paramita mantra, which says gone, gone, gone beyond, far beyond, now awaken. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha.
Let us take in a deep breath and raise our arms up high. Stretch to the ceiling. Let your head fall. Look up high. And release. And one more time, deep breath in, raising up. Breathing in. Reach. Let go. Twist to one side, twisting the spine. And you can look over your left shoulder or right shoulder and twist the other way. And then take a moment to just roll the neck or and then you can release your legs and make yourselves comfortable. And then we'll have a Dharma talk by Reverend Ginger. And the title of her talk is The Mind Uncovered, From Delusion to Clarity. So please bring your palms together to welcome Reverend Ginger Kyomunim.
Good morning. I'm not dancing, I'm trying to turn on this thingy, which is not working right now. So let me ask you this question. Now here is, who have you struggled with most in your life? Your parents or children, a partner, colleagues? One Buddhism reminds us the source of struggle is not outside of you. We usually think our biggest struggles are with our other people, a partner, a coworker, a family member, or even society. But really, every struggle out there starts much closer to home in our very mind. Before anything happens on the outside, there's already something happening inside, a judgment, a bit of resistance, an old story we are playing. The situation might light the spark, but our own thoughts and feelings keep the fire going. Once we see that, we know where the real battle is, not out there somewhere, but here. If the mind is where the real battle happens, then we need a way to see where we are in that journey. In one Buddhism, that map is called the stages of Dharma rank, a guide to the direction and depth of our inner cultivation. So this map has 6 stages. The first stage is the beginner's stage for those newly introduced to the Buddha's teachings. The second stage is called special faith for those who form a sincere intention to practice. And then comes a shift, the third stage, when an inner struggle begins called the battle between Dharma and Mara. And here, Mara refers to any and all hindrances that arise on our path. As the Dharma power grows and Mara begins to lose its grip, we enter the fourth stage where Dharma consistently prevails and Mara no longer rises. This is the stage, Dharma strong, Mara defeated. And actually, there are 2 more stages, which I'll introduce to you next time. The stage of Dharma strong and Mara defeated marks the beginning of sagehood, a stage where you naturally become a guide for others. You become a teacher. And you can become a teacher because at this stage, you've gained liberation from the cycle of birth and death. You have a deep understanding of the scriptures and insight into the nature of all things, great and small, being and non-being. And you've learned to engage your 6 senses in daily life in a way that Dharma consistently overcomes Mara. And there's much we could explore in each of these 3 points, but today I want to focus on the third one, 6 senses, guided by Dharma, in particular on the very root of Mara. Oops. So I consider the movie, The Matrix, a great Buddhist film. If you agree with me, you are in my generation, I will assume. At the beginning, the main character Neo senses that something isn't quite right. He feels a vague discomfort, like reality doesn't fully add up. Then he is offered a choice. Stay in the familiar but deluded world, or wake up to the truth, a reality in which humans are unknowingly being used as batteries. Neo chooses to wake up. And from that moment on, there is no going back to previous life. In the same way, once there's no way back, but there's way back for this thing. In the same way, once we encounter the teachings of Dharma and Mara and begin to engage in that inner battle, we can go back to the way things were because we can unsee what we've seen. And we can't unknow that we've been living in delusion. This inner conflict is in fact happening every moment. We may be unaware, but happening every time we see, hear, feel, or think, our minds are being tested. To simply put, this inner conflict is about learning to win over ourselves. Master Sotaesan said, "Some may be strong enough to defeat others, but those who conquer themselves are even stronger. The one who conquers self will have the strength to guide all beings." So conquering ourselves should be a piece of cake, right? But if it's not, then why is it so hard? To really answer that, we have to take a close look at what we're actually up against, what's happening inside when we struggle. When we talk about winning over ourselves, we are really talking about overcoming Mara, the inner barriers that keep us from seeing clearly. So Mara, hindrances, doesn't look the same for everyone, right? For some, it shows up as anger. For others, it may be laziness, self-blame, or constant distraction. But underneath it all, Mara is rooted in greed, anger, and delusion. And then the deepest of this is delusion, what we call 치심 in Korean, the mind that doesn't see clearly. So 치심 is the mind that fails to distinguish right from wrong. And if you see this word in Chinese character, it has two parts, right? The upper part is 병, sickness, and what's inside is 의, doubt. Sometimes it is written as qi, to know. So 치심 is a sickness of the mind clouded by not knowing and by seeing what is false as true. So 치심, when we have 치심, we don't distinguish right from wrong. Even when we do know, if we act with shamelessness or disregard, that too is 치심. In the early stages of practice, many people simply don't recognize what's right or wrong. But as practice deepens, the challenges become more subtle. We begin to face the hidden, shameless mind. The thing is, these deluded things or thoughts don't always shout, they whisper. So let's take a look at how 치심, deluded mind, can show up in daily life, how it shapes our behavior and attitude. When the mind is deluded, it may lead to rigid self-righteousness, blaming others, habitual reactivity, emotional confusion, or unnecessary shame. Practice deepens when we begin listening closely to our most private, hidden thoughts. We all carry thoughts we hesitate to admit, but it's in facing those thoughts that real growth begins. So I had a moment when I realized just how much 치심, deluded mind, was nesting inside me. At first, it showed up as resentment. So reflecting on my 19 years of walking this path as a 교무님, I began to recognize something quietly lodged within me. I, too, carried a habit of resentment. And that realization actually surprised me. So whenever I read Master Sotaesan's words, people in the world have a disease of resentment, I thought that must be about others. I never imagined it was about me. And over time, through quiet reflection, I began to see that I had the same illness, hidden, subtle, almost invisible. Then one day after seated meditation, my mind grew clear and memories from the past rose to the surface. I saw how, in difficult times, my first thought often blamed circumstances or others, something I had never admitted to myself. So before the One Dharma Center, I served in 3 different temples. At my first post, I was an inexperienced practitioner, stubborn, full of my own ideas. Because of that, my teacher occasionally scolded me. Each time, I felt a deep sense of shame. And without realizing it, I projected those painful feelings onto her. She was known as a strict teacher anyway, so it was easy for me to cast her in the role of scary one. At my second post, I faced even more difficulty, especially in my relationship with the person I was living with. Whenever challenges came up, I blamed her for being difficult. Her peculiarities were well known to those around me, so it was also easy to justify my view. What I didn't consider was that I too had something to look into. And the third, I thought I had grown in experience, but confidence slowly turned into pride. I thought I was doing well. Everything seemed fine on the outside. Now, after 5 years in this community, living in the same building with 14 sets of eyes, sharing meals together, daily routines, and unspoken moments, I found the courage to truly look inward with honesty. Because in this kind of life, there is nowhere to hide, not from others and not from myself. And over time, I came to see the root of those hardships wasn't always the people or circumstances around me. The core of it was, in fact, the chi심, the deluded mind within me. And with that realization, my authentic practice finally began. So how do we know whether we have chisim? The tricky part is, chisim often hides in plain sight. It's not always loud or dramatic. It shows up as a quiet stubbornness, like I'm right, and they just don't get it. Subtle blame. If only they change, things would be fine. Silent pride. Been there, done that. That feeling of being slightly above or slightly beneath someone. Or even that inner voice that says, I am being sincere. So let's reflect on sincerity here. We believe we are being kind and sincere. But many times we have not fully examined that feeling. We may smile, say the right words, offer help, but under the surface, there might be a layer of impatience or a quiet avoidance that we haven't fully faced. So let me share a recent experience of my own. A gluten-free guest. So this is also a retreat center. So we facilitate retreat, or sometimes we invite group of people to use our facilities. A gluten-free guest at a retreat requested a new bowl of almond butter not be touched by a spoon that had touched a regular bread. I never asked this question before, but I compiled and set aside a fresh jar. But inside, a voice whispered, "Isn't that a bit much?" I just brushed it off, didn't dwell on it, and I moved on with the task. Outwardly, everything looked fine. I had done what was asked. But inwardly, something was unsettled. That small voice lingered. The next morning, while preparing breakfast, I saw the gluten-free bread placed right next to the regular bread, edges slightly touching. Another thought quietly arose. It's close enough. I was just about to walk away again. But something stopped me. I paused. I saw the pattern repeating. And in that stillness, I recognized it. That chi심, deluded mind, the part of me that wanted to appear considerate, right? But didn't actually want to be fully considerate. The part that wanted to seem mindful without letting go of my own convenience. So what I did, I took a breath, brought a fresh set of bread, and placed it properly. Dharma 1. To truly see chisim, we must pause longer and see what's most subtle. Then we start noticing what thoughts come up when we are challenged. What stories we tell ourselves when we are uncomfortable. What we avoid admitting even to ourselves. So it's not about being harsh. It's about being honest, gentle, and deeply curious. Master Chongsan said, the root of Qixim is the desire for honor and fame, and it is in truth a craving for recognition. So why do we need that recognition? Have you thought about that? Because we all craving for recognition. So the conditioned human mind longed to be seen, heard, and understood by others. So it feels like proof that we matter, right? But pause and consider, from whom are we truly seeking it? That constant turning outward, that subtle drifting away from our true nature, that is what we call delusion. Qixim, the deluded mind, feeds on ignorance. And ignorance has power when it stays hidden. So Master Chongsan said, Qixim is overcome through cultivating a bright and upright mind. So my journey continues with this courage to look deeply into my secret, deceiving thoughts. And here's what I've learned. Even if Dharma seems to lose the moment, Mara cannot stay hidden. Mara lives quietly in the undercurrent, in greed, in anger, and most often in delusion, arising through my six senses, shaping my habits without me even knowing. And yes, there are moments when Dharma feels like it has lost. When we snap in resentment and impatience, once we see that movement clearly without resistance, we can begin to discern the subtle workings of the deluded mind. Our teachers described the mind through different types of energy. One of them is heavy, sinking, scattered energy, which from the one with strong qixim. I found a helpful insight for my own practice here. So sometimes I notice that my energy feels scattered, unfocused, and sinking. So I make the effort for boosting my 단전, abiding meditation practice, where I can gather my mind, restore focus, and brighten my energy. In everyday life, choosing clarity over delusion is never easy, but it begins the moment we commit to practice. So my hope is that you, too, will step onto your own inner battlefield between Dharma and Mara, learning to overcome your hindrances and to grow through them. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Ginger. It was so helpful. So do you have qixim? So may we all, like Reverend Chongsan said and Reverend Ginger told us, that Reverend Chongsan reminded us that the cure for qixim is by cultivating a bright and upright mind. So now we will read the essential dharmas of daily practice, led by Pete. Please open up your booklets to page 6.
The essential dharmas of daily practice. 1. The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. 2. The mind is originally free from delusion, but delusions arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the wisdom of our true nature by letting go of delusions. 3. The mind is originally free from wrongdoing, but wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the precepts of our true nature by letting go of wrongdoings. 4. Let us replace disbelief greed, laziness, and ignorance, with belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication. 5. Let us turn resentment into gratitude. 6. Let us turn dependency into self-reliance. 7. Let us turn reluctance to learn into willingness to learn well. 8. Let us turn reluctance to teach into willingness to teach well. 9. Let us turn lack of public spirit into eagerness to serve the good of all.
I have a few announcements to make. We have a retreat coming up Labor Day weekend, and there's still some spots available. So you can find the flyers in the foyer or also online. And then the second announcement is that it is a special sort of summer cleaning day. So we're going to ask for your assistance with one thing, and that is today is the day that we uncover all of our pillows off our mats. So we ask that you, if you wouldn't mind, if you would uncover your mats instead of putting them in the closet today. And so we're going to make piles of these mats of the covers. And some are going to, if it has like a big mark on it, a stain on it, we just ask that you put it on the right side. And if not, you can just put it in a pile on the left side. And then you can just leave the inserts in the middle or wherever, somewhere. And then if there are a few people that would please stay behind so we could gather all those pillow covers and then bring them over to be washed and cleaned so we can put them back nice and fresh. So thank you so much for helping with that, if you can. And then I have one more announcement. Reverend Unsan wrote these 2 books that are available on Amazon. Can AI Attain Enlightenment? And Is It Wrong to Kill a Mosquito? So he is a wonderful writer. So if you want to, you should check out these books. You can, and please leave a review for him. These are his first books, so we really want to support him. See it? Okay, so now please open your booklets to page 9 to read the morning prayer song. Dharma Kaya Buddha, fourfold grace, I begin a new day in your presence. Today, full of health and with peace of mind, may I walk along the path of the Buddha. Dharma Kaya Buddha, fourfold grace, I begin a new day with your grace. Today, gratefully and with gentle words, may I live in harmony with all those I meet. Dharma Kaya Buddha, fourfold grace, I begin a new day with compassion. Today, making the world a more loving place. May I do all that I can for one world. So before we close today, let us take a moment to send our energy and the merit that we have collected here today. Our love and prayers go to Tim Cunningham, who is the brother of one of our members, Nancy Hodgkins. So if we could please all take a moment to sit in silence and prayer for his recovery. He just had 2 surgeries, so Just one moment.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you for the prayer. Before we end, we have guests joining us today, this morning. So they are the board members of one Institute of Graduate Studies, and they had 2 nights, 3 days, their own retreat here on our retreat campus. Would you please stand up on your set and just show us your face? They're very important people in the development of One Buddhism in the USA. And let's give them a big warm applause. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. This concludes our Sunday Dharma service. We will see you again next week.
And as you uncover your, what is that, pillow